Founded in 1995 and headquartered in the St. Louis metro area, Interface Security Systems is a leading nationwide provider of managed security, network connectivity, unified communications as a service, and business intelligence solutions. Best known for its robust interactive video monitoring, in 2021, Interface saw 37% growth and landed $60 million in equity investing. The company serves about 65,000 customer locations with a strong foothold in the retail market that includes Michaels, Swatch, Kay Jewelers, Applebee's, and Panda Express. SSI spoke with Interface President and COO Brent Duncan, Senior Vice President of Enterprise Security Sean Foley, and Senior Vice President of Marketing Sunita Mani about some of its key differentiators in optimizing operations and ROI for the nation's top brands. Be sure to subscribe to SSI's YouTube channel. Hit the like button, share, and leave comments. Or subscribe to SSI's Security Speaking podcast on Apple and Spotify. And leave us a review. Thank you. SSI here with Interface, March 2022. Gentlemen, if you would each introduce yourselves, just a sentence or two of your background, and then jump into telling me where Interface has come from to get to where it is today in a nutshell.
Sure, Scott, I can begin. My name is Brent Duncan. I am the COO and president at Interface. I've been with the organization for 3 years. Prior to that, I was with NTT, which is a large global network infrastructure and services company. And then prior to that, I was with a cybersecurity group that I helped start called Perimeter. So I was with them for, that was a 10-year run with Perimeter. And then just to give you a little bit of the background on Interface, so the business was founded in 1995. Really kind of initially, the focus was rolling up kind of local regional size security monitoring organizations and integrators. And so over the course of, kind of 95 to mid-late 2000s, Interface acquired about 100 security organizations. And then in 2012, we acquired an organization called Westech, which we're going to talk more about through the interview. But Westech was really the foundation for our integrated video monitoring services, and really was a launch platform for everything we do around interactive video. Also around that time, the focus of the business started to shift to large distributed enterprise organizations, mostly consumer facing. So think of any large retailer, casual dining restaurant, quick serve restaurant, anyone with a large national footprint of stores. And really we became a really unique service provider to that space. One, our focus on that space, and two, the breadth of technology that we're providing into that space. So it's really all of and we'll unpack more of this as we talk, but really it's all of the tech inside that site, short of the point of sale systems. So you can think of all of the video, all of the security, all of the underlying network infrastructure that supports the technology in the store.
Very good, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, well, I'm and again, Sean Foley here. I'm the Senior Vice President of Enterprise Security here at Interface. I came to Interface actually via the Westech acquisition that took place back in 2012. So those are my roots in the kind of startup security solutions space. And prior to that, I was actually Westech's in-house counsel. So I'd like to consider myself a recovering attorney. And so, but today I'm here running our go-to-market efforts around both our security and fire and video-based solutions.
Very good.
I'm Sunny Damani, the SVP of Marketing at Interface. I also joined about 2 years ago and really seen the transformation of the company from a go-to-market standpoint around innovations, product technology, and I'm really excited to be part of this, to showcase what a different provider, a managed services provider Interface is today, along with, SSI. So thank you.
Thank you all for participating in this. I remember visiting a West Tech facility in California back in probably the late 90s or early 2000s, not too long after I got in the industry. And I was just very impressed by it at that time. And I thought it always looked like sort of like, a look into the future of the industry. And, Interface has taken that and moved it so much more forward. So
it's funny you bring that up, Scott, because I was actually having dinner with Brent's colleagues last night, and I was telling the story about how myself and the director of that operation were packing up the equipment back in the early 2000s in that facility and shipping it off to Des Moines, Iowa, where we opened a new, larger facility. One day we packed it all up again and built another one, where it sits today in Plano, Texas. So we've moved that operation around a few times, and the technology is like night and day. Back then, when you were in that facility, it was either Irvine or Newport Beach. We were running all of our audio communication over POTS lines. We were using low processing speed CPUs, and oh man, we thought what we were doing was pretty cool, but what we can do today is like light years beyond.
Yeah, so there are some latecomers now, but you have that huge advantage, I think, with the legacy and the refinements and all that. What are a couple of other challenges you could share with us that you're really looking at as we sit here today, and what's your outlook regarding them?
Well, I think one key one that, again, it's not unique to Interface is around labor. The labor markets have changed dramatically. And, for us, we want to create, a great work environment. Culture is incredibly important to us. We feel like if we have, happy, fulfilled, valued employees, and that translates into, we have a motto internally of relentless customer support. And we believe that translates into providing that support for our customers. So, it's important to us to create an environment where our employees, feel valued. They clearly understand what's expected of them. They're given the tools and training to be successful in their careers, and they have a clear career trajectory. So they know kind of what's next for them in their professional development, as well as their financial development. And if you create an environment like that where people feel valued and they're a part of something, then they're going to do a great job, and that's going to translate into the kind of experience our customers have. So we try to walk that motto every day and try to make sure that that's exposed to potential new hires. We recently hired a new chief people officer, and we've made a significant investment in our tech stack and our learning management systems, and how we're recruiting for positions, making sure we're finding the best fits for us and for the potential employee, and that's resulted in some significant growth in both our employee counts as well as our employee retention. And so we put a ton of emphasis around labor, because that's kind of the most significant challenge that we've been facing in the last several months.
Sean, you got it, or Sunny, you got a top challenge you want to share?
Well, it's a challenge and an opportunity, really. So we've been constantly innovating. And so the challenge has been, how do you incorporate AI into your platforms, into your solutions, into your ultimately the products you deliver to customers? You're either incorporating analytics and AI into your solutions, or you're falling behind at this stage. So, and we're kind of at an inflection point with AI, both in terms of general AI capabilities at the video level, cloud computing, and most importantly, processing power. Those three things are coming together for us and allowing us to offer a whole new suite of solutions to our customers. And most importantly, solutions that contain actionable data that either they can act upon or that we, within our monitoring operations, can act upon. And that can be as simple as, in our monitoring operation, whether a person is present as opposed to an object that should not be there at such and such a time through however many hours in the evening. Is there a vehicle present that should not be there, as opposed to, say, just a dumb motion detection type of technology? Can we identify a shoplifter by their facial features, or a VIP customer using the same technology? So incorporating that into our solutions is and continues to be critical. And we think it's going to be a big part of our offerings go forward.
Absolutely. Cindy, do you want to add anything on challenges?
Yeah, I would say as we grow, and Brent is going to share some, growth numbers in the past couple of years of new logos that we have won, of sales growth. It's always important to have that same personalized customer experience. And so that's been an opportunity and a challenge to say, as we scale and as we grow, how do we maintain that personalized customer experience that our customers have sort of, demanded from us, and we've provided them for so many years. We want to keep that same experience as we grow and scale our business. So I think there's been a lot of effort put into it. And Brent talked about relentless customer support, the motto, and really, getting every customer department, every department that touches a customer to have specific metrics on, SLAs, on response time, and increasing our net promoter score. So those have been, again, challenges and opportunities.
We were talking before we officially started recording this, and you mentioned you're around 700 employees. About how many customers in the customer base right now?
Yeah, so we're currently monitoring in excess of about 65,000 customer locations. And that ranges across some of the most kind of recognizable brands in the United States. So we are, particularly through our legacy West Tech subsidiary, essentially working with most major jewelers, for instance, who really built the business in large part on that. Some of the larger QSR chains out there are our customers, and not at a onesie twosie site level. I'm talking throughout the entire enterprise. So, but again, about 65,000 plus locations that we are securing today.
Are they all in the U.S. or some in Canada, or any overseas, or
U.S. and Canada, and yeah, so the entire 50, and Canada and Puerto Rico.
So whether it's the jewelers or the retail or the quick serve or cannabis, what tend to be the top 2 or 3 add-ons, in terms of technology or services that, or easy sells, or you see really growing right now?
Yeah. So in terms of like an add-on that an existing customer might go for, so we kind of have the benefit here at Interface of, and it's a huge benefit of being both a managed network services provider and a security solutions company. So in a lot of the modern interface company is the whole foundation of it is security applications, security solutions are simply another application that runs on a network. And if you don't understand, if you're not skilled in managed networks, you're gonna have a tough time delivering security solutions, at least in doing so at the type of level that large brands expect. So it's not uncommon for a customer who is asking for a BI solution from Interface or a virtual guard monitoring solution from Interface. They're looking at their network, they're going, hey, I really like these applications. I love these solutions, but my IT department is looking at me going, well, you're going to put how much video and run it over my network? Are you nuts? So we're here to help them through that process with their IT team to be able to say, hey, no, we're not going to blow your network and start messing up point of sale transactions because we're doing people counting or we've got a virtual guard monitoring solution in your store. We can do things like expand your network, or very popularly create a parallel network for that client that supports specifically those security or BI based solutions for the customer. Because you simply our retailers, take them times 1,000 sites, they just don't always have the broadband capacity and network to support the level of solution that they might be looking for. So in the perfect scenario, we're jumping in and we're providing the security solutions, the video analytics and BI solutions, and the underlying managed network for the whole enterprise, for the entire enterprise. And we're partnering with the IT team at that point to handle the broadband deployment, their voice solutions, with the security solutions riding on the network that we provide and that we manage.
And Scott, we obviously love that scenario, right? We love the scenario where we have customers who want to, sign me up. I'm ready for all of it. Obviously, the reality is there's situations where there's this, a point technology, a point project, but we hear time and time again from our customers and from our prospects that one of the key differentiators for Interface and our value proposition is our ability to do all of these other things. So even if we're not doing them day one, the ability to add those services, ultimately align with a single vendor responsible for managing all of these technologies, kind of understanding the bigger picture of how they all integrate. The feedback we get from our customers is they have a high level of comfort in having one partner across the space. So, even if it's not all at once, we generally see very consistent add-on of these additional services as the situation evolves with our customers.
Does Interface also offer embedded personnel services?
Yeah, we do, situationally. So when a project calls for it, so we've got a number of examples, particularly obviously with larger customers where that either makes sense in the project or is how a customer prefers to structure the relationship. So yeah, we have a number of customers that have embedded personnel.
Yeah, and it's changing, right? It used to be a much more popular ask by our larger customers, and it oftentimes would be a requirement of the business. And over the last 2 years, and with the gaining popularity of remote work and the gaining acceptance of remote work, the same folks who were demanding that resource be internal to their organization are not necessarily showing up at their own organization on a daily basis. So a lot of our clients are saying, hey, what do I need? Not so much do I need someone sitting in my business internally, is what resource do I need to drive the Interface organization in the direction that I want it driven. So really, really big change there over time.
And one of the things I'd add is I've heard a lot of our customers, I do customer interviews, and they say, they view Interface as an extension of their IT and security teams. And I think that embeddedness that you're talking about automatically comes in when our customers see us as a critical partner. And so it's not just one person who's embedded in their organization, it's a whole team, right? It's our SOC, it's our C3, it's our support people, it's our solution design engineers, it's our product team that's constantly working with them to come up with solutions, deliver the solutions, and support the solutions. So I think that, the concept of the extension of their team, I've heard that from our customers, and I think that's really critical, and that's who we feel we are.
As far as brick and mortar locations, how many does Interface have in total, and of what nature are they?
Yeah, so we're sitting in one of them right now. At least Brent and I are. We're at our headquarters here in Earth City, St. Louis, the St. Louis, Missouri area. We're just a couple miles north of the airport. So that's headquarters. Our second largest office is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Plano, Texas. That's where we have our UL certified command and control center. That is where we conduct our interactive monitoring solutions. That's our most advanced monitoring operation. We also have a monitoring operation here in Earth City that is redundant to the one in Plano, where we provide more of our standard intrusion monitoring and fire monitoring services. We have regional offices throughout the country, concentrated heavily in the Deep South, because that's just where we grew up as a business. And we've got an additional 8 offices scattered from Memphis, Tennessee, to Lake Charles, Louisiana, to New Orleans, and over to Mississippi. So we've got quite a few offices in those locations. But over time, we've really gravitated, and this is abundantly obvious from our customer base, we've gravitated towards national customers and a national account strategy, where the office locations are not super relevant to those customers, whereas having technician presence and having a monitoring operation that can satisfy their needs is what they're looking for. So we have technicians strategically placed throughout every NFL market in the United States, and then another massive network of additional technicians that are Interface certified when and where we need them.
So this Interface certification, is there opportunity possibly for, our audience, if they're interested, to align themselves with that, and what would be involved?
Yeah, so we're always looking for partners, particularly ones that are competent out there in the field. And there is a training process that's required to ramp up, particularly when it comes to our more advanced monitoring solutions. There's lots of folks out there who can run wire and install video and alarm systems. When you're talking about interactive audio, that requires a little bit of additional training. And there's, of course, unique aspects to the video platforms and so forth. But as Brent stated earlier, labor is in super high demand right now. And that means field level talent is also in demand. So when we have opportunities, we have some very good nationwide partners, but we're always looking for folks who can go out there, get the job done, handle that next new store opening and integration project with our clients' general contractors.
And of course, sometimes a good way to acquire that labor is by acquiring a whole company. And at the outset, we talked about a lot of the acquisitions over the history of Interface. What's the current posture in terms of interest and looking for possible acquisitions to grow that way?
So we are, from an acquisition standpoint, we're certainly opportunistic and keeping our eyes open. We do expect, from a growth standpoint, when you hear the growth numbers that Brent was talking about earlier, we place that expectation on ourselves in terms of organic growth. So to the extent that we can be acquisitive and find opportunities that are additive to the business, we're going to. We work with the private equity community. We're going to keep our eyes open for those strategic opportunities, but we are, as a go-to-market organization, focused heavily on organic growth.
What would you say are some keys to keeping Interface on that track? I think it was Suni you mentioned about keeping that level of customer service that Brent mentioned is the philosophy of the business. What are some keys to maintain that as the business continues to grow and as these technologies and services morph?
Yeah, I mean, Scott, my philosophy it always comes back to people and the team. You have to create an environment where people, feel like they're part of a team. I don't kid myself and think that everybody jumps out of bed every day to go to work and with a giant smile on their face, right? But we want people to be happy, fulfilled, feel like they're a part of something. And as a result, that'll translate into, a good customer experience. Back to the technology, we're also, very thoughtful about how we integrate that technology. We have to set our people up for success, right? So we got to make sure that we've got everything in place to correctly support a product, monitor a product, so that our customers have the right experience. But my philosophy is if you're taking care of your employees and you're more than just a job to them, then that's going to translate into great teamwork, great environment, and happy customers.
What about in terms of involvement in the community, involvement in the industry? Certainly a lot of millennials and younger folks seem to place a lot of value on feeling like their employer is engaged that way too.
Yeah, so I mentioned the recent addition of Chief People Officer. That's allowed us to kind of expand our people initiatives. So that ties back to recognizing people's success internally, compensating that success. We're involved in a number of different initiatives in the community, particularly in St. Louis and Dallas, given our presence in those markets. Last year, we launched a kind of Tech for Good initiative where we were, providing a scholarship to a college student that was, kind of rooted in the technology space. We're always looking for opportunities to support our communities and support our employees' ideas about how we can support our communities. And so, that's again, it's an important part of creating the right culture internally.
Anyone want to add anything to that, or I'll move on?
Yeah, and we're also outside of that, in terms of the communities that we tend to play in, that we tend to be active in, we're members of the Loss Prevention Foundation. That's a big area for us. The National Organization Against Organized Retail Crime, and the Restaurant Asset Protection Loss Prevention Association, as well as NRF and RELA. Those tend to be the communities that we roll in, if you will.
How do you view the competitive landscape? What is your perspective on that? I mean, I think Interface has a pretty unique niche from where I sit, but I'm sure there are competitors. So what is your vantage point of that, and how do you differentiate within that?
So I'll kick this one off. So first off, we certainly respect our competition, and we don't take them for granted. we do think that we have a broader array of solutions vis-a-vis most of our competition, and we think in the areas in which we play, we're going to market with a pretty big bat and arsenal of solutions, if you will, because we really do focus hard on that kind of multi-location enterprise. So we do well in that space. I can tell you that there are a number of scrappy startup organizations out there, and we consider ourselves pretty darn scrappy too. But we've got to be ready and aware of them on a literally on a month-to-month basis, because when you are working with the large brands of the world, and our customers are those VPs of asset protection and security that you see at NRF and at ISC West, I can assure you that every major integrator and every solutions provider out there in the country wants an audience with every single one of our customers. They want an audience with those folks. They want to do business with those folks, and they're constantly soliciting and making offers to our client base. So that keeps us sharp.
One of the things I'd like to add on here is, we have the experience, the 25-year plus experience that some of our large competitors have. And then we are innovating at the pace of a startup, so that puts us in a very happy medium. It's like Goldilocks. We're not the large behemoth company that can't innovate fast, that have all these bureaucracies, and we're not the small startup that does not have the experience and the expertise. So I feel our space is really unique. Just like you said, we have a niche because we have a broad range of solutions. We can innovate quickly and we can deliver that customer experience. And I think that puts us, light years ahead of a lot of our competition, to be honest.
I would add on too that it's also our focus. So we don't try to be everything to everyone. We want to be really thoughtful, really, great advocates for some specific industries and spaces that we know inside and out and can really effectively support. Our focus, I think, and breadth of service end up being significant differentiators in the market, as well as our reputation. We have to go out and perform day in, day out for our customer base, in order to stay ahead of kind of all the up and comers that Sean mentioned.
I'm sure that interface solutions tend to mitigate a lot of false alarm issues that some other providers may encounter. What about apprehensions? Is that something that you zero in on in terms of aiding in that area too?
Absolutely. So we have certain longtime customers who came to us specifically because of false alarms and false alarm fines. That was the genesis of certain very large scale relationships that we have today. Folks who are literally accumulating hundreds of thousands of dollars in false alarm fines, and coupled with just one unnecessary wake up call to their operators and store managers on a nightly and weekly basis. So the difference between police response in a video with video verified alarm and say just a blind intrusion alarm is exponentially different. So if you're getting your typical commercial burglar alarm to your busy 911 PSAP in the middle of the night, and your alarm company is letting them know that a front door motion went off and a door contact ticked off. Can you go check out and see what's going on there? They might, they're going to get there. It might take 40-45 minutes on average in a typical busy jurisdiction based on our analyses. And in a video verified situation, We're giving law enforcement a live play-by-play of what's happening at the customer's premise as it's happening. We're giving them descriptions of the individual, what they're doing, what their vehicle may look like. The type of response we get there is in the kind of 3 to 5 minute range. It's typically how fast can law enforcement get there? And it's very simple. You know, we're engaging law enforcement, we're engaging the 911 PSAP, and we are giving a law enforcement officer an actual opportunity to catch a criminal in the act. And we have examples of that on a weekly and sometimes nightly basis, particularly out of our operation in Plano, Texas.
That's compelling stuff for sure, and a big differentiator. So looking at the time and looking at the questions, I think we've done a really good job of covering just about everything. Is there any final thought before we part ways that you would like to get out there?
Scott, I mean, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. We're incredibly proud of our company and incredibly proud of the services we provide, of our team. So anytime we have the ability to highlight that, we certainly appreciate it. So no, I mean, thank you for your time, and we appreciate the interest.